So you got a camera or a phone that has pro mode but you don't quite know what ISO, shutter speed, or aperture are. Let me help you. Let's explore camera basics. This is knowledge transfer. In photography, light is an essential part of taking photos, so knowing how to set your ISO, shutter speed, and aperture, also known as the triangle of exposure, will help you take better photos. To help me demonstrate these things, I've asked Ara and Sheila to help me shoot these following clips. Thanks guys! Let's go through them one by one. ISO. ISO is your camera's sensitivity to the light. The lower the ISO, the darker the photo, the less sensitive your camera will be. The higher the ISO, the brighter the photo, the more sensitive your camera will be. But do also take note that when you use higher ISO values, your photos will get noisier, especially if it's dark out. Shutter speed. Shutter speed is how fast your camera takes a photo. Technically, how fast your shutter blind closes. It's measured in fractions of a second such as 1/30, 1/60, 1/100, and so on. The lower the shutter speed, the brighter the photo, the higher the shutter speed, the darker the photo. But do take note that when you use a lower shutter speed, you get blurry pictures when you're trying to take photos of moving objects. When you want to shoot fast-moving subjects, use a higher shutter speed. Aperture. Aperture, also known as the f-stop, is the opening of your lens's diaphragm. The lower the aperture, the brighter the photo, the higher the aperture, the darker the photo. Also, using a lower aperture adds more depth of field, meaning your background and foreground will be more separated as they have a blur in between them. Using a higher aperture would make your foreground and background more fused together as both would be clearer. And that's the triangle of exposure. Use all these three things to capture good photos. Here are some photos I took with their ISO, shutter speed, and aperture. Now you know the basics of setting your camera. My advice to you is focus on these three things first. Focus on setting your ISO, shutter speed, and aperture. And once you're comfortable with them, explore composition and framing. Who knows? I might make a video about that too. Hope this helps. See you on the next one.